Hey guys, what's up? It's Lockdown here. Welcome to my studio. Today I want to have a chat with you all about my part in the new record with Nick Hudson and Alejandro called Ravers of the Night. I started working on the break of this record when I was in a plane on the way to Cairns for a club show. It was something absolutely random and inspiring about that day. For some reason, decided to do it. Whipped the laptop out and knock one out.
What?
So it all started with this little melody. And now I'll run you through the rest of the elements in that break. Basically here, started with some pads. We've got the low pad hitting some chords. Sounds real angelic, sort of holy in a sense. Topped it off with the higher pads. We've got another higher pad that comes in on a rise. All together, all those pads. Cool little sound. From here we move on to the plucks. It's the Spire preset called Ghost. Cool little MIDI random notes. It kind of plays with the velocity, so there's a bit more variation rather than just ding ding ding, like, you know, straight notes. Plucks on top. Little cool effects. All together. Got the lead for the break. We've got some special little delays and reverbs that are printed out. Together it ties in really, really nicely, like it's just real, like sort of smooth.
Shot, real smooth.
Took the high nose, the set of chords, to really fill up the space. Another super saw here, which is actually from Dr. Funk. Like heaps of power behind it, so together. Layered with a bit of a piano. Underneath all that, there's a bass line. We've got some effects. These are pretty crucial sometimes just to get the right vibe and ambience. This one I've only got a bit of a crowd noise, so it's set pretty wide, got no lows in it. Kind of just fills the spectrum, they're a bit of spectrum fillers. Let's hear how that break sounds all together. Another really cool aspect I want to go over is the vocal that says Ravers of the Night. It goes through the track quite a bit. On the final release it wasn't in as much, so I'll show you this little trick that didn't actually make the cut, but it's very handy. It's cool. So this trick with this vocal, I was using a vocoder. I actually did the vocals myself in a sense. So I'll take off the chain. You can actually just hear
Ravers of the Night. We are the Ravers of the Night.
So it gives it a little bit of a difference. I've ran that through vocal editing software just to keep the same tone so it didn't sound all jumpy. From there, I've gave a bit of saturation, cut off the lows and dipped heavily some mids. Multi-band compression just to give it a bit of a brighter sound. Valhalla Room, very, very lightly, only 20%, just to give it some space. Compressed a little bit. OTT, top it off. And then I'm actually routing the vocal track to take audio from this Serum track. So that's what gives it like a really robot-y sort of sound. So this is a sound that's actually pulling. So that channel's off and it's only triggering using this.
Ravers of the Night.
So I've got this vocal parallel compressed. So one side of it is going through a vocoder, which is reading the signal off this channel here, this Serum channel. The second part of it, it's actually doing the same thing, except there's a little altar boy dropping it down, -12 pitch, -6 formant. So together, they create this.
Ravers of the Night. We are the Ravers of the Night.
And quickly, lastly, on top, there's a bit more cutting. Cut more lows out, cut the really high tinny stuff out, a little bit of the mids again. This plugin called Pitch Monster is amazing for vocals. I've used a double tracking preset, dropped it to 50%. I've used Soothe, just to really clean up the real high-end stuff. A bit of CLA vocals, and a little bit of delay.
We are the Ravers of the Night.
And that is how we've got that vocal. One last aspect I want to go over is the lead. I think the lead is a very unique sounding style. So I've got this thick layer from Serum here, really throwing some good mids out there. I've got this higher kind of sound, ravey sort of sound on top of that. And the main character of the lead. All together, it bunches up quite nicely. So just as my general rule of thumb, I've got a little effects tab, so I like to kind of bounce the effects out and play with them individually, so you can do little unique different things, pan left and right, make one flutter, make one sit somewhere else, there somewhere. So these are cool little little tricks for when you do your leads. Some more. Got some bounced out acid fills, kind of sound like dogs barking. Another little cool sweep, and altogether the leads sound pretty delicious. As the rest of the story goes, this record actually travelled around Australia quite a bit with me. Until one day I ended up in a little special place called Swan Hill, and that day I decided to send it to Nick Harrison. He did wonders on this track and really pushed it to completion. I sent it to Nick because I was a big fan of his track that he recently released at the time called Closer. Still am a big fan of that track to this day. It's so cool. Have a listen to this. Mad. So from here, keep an eye out for Nick Harrison's video for the part 2, because you don't want to miss it. It's going to be amazing. But for now, go and stream Ravers of the Night and click the little love heart on Spotify, because it really makes a difference. It makes it sound so much better. And also, help out the fellas. Give myself, Nick and Alejandra a follow on our socials. I'll put the links down in the description below, so go and give them a click. I hope you've enjoyed learning about some of the creative process on this record, and maybe even gain some stuff to use on your own. But thank you guys so much for watching. Keep your ear out for our next ones. Peace.